Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go!
Athletes aren't built during the season, they're built here in the off season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca. Playoff time in the SJHL, but Commish, you've been watching March Madness. I'm not a huge, I used to watch back in the day the UNV running Rebels with Jerry Tarkanian. I don't know if you remember that name.
Yep.
Remember Loyola Marymount when Hank Gathers died and Bo Kimball shot left-handed at the free throw line? I think that was in 1990, if I'm not mistaken. It was 1990 because I graduated high school back then, sadly. Any upsets today?
Well, yeah, High Point just beat Wisconsin. That was quite an upset. I think it was a 12 seed beating a 5. And looks like Texas is ahead right now of University
Duke.
of North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina.
10 points at half. So, yeah, there's always upsets. Usually the upset is the 5 and 12 or the 7 and whatever, 7 and 12 or 7 and 14. Always in the middle of the bracket, there's an upset.
Yeah.
So,
Do you like that better? I love hockey, don't get me wrong, but I like football because you could be the best team, and if you're not the best team on that day, you're done. World Cup of Soccer, this type of thing. Do you like the one and done, or do you like the fact you can go 3, 5, or 7 game series?
Well, you look at the Olympics. You look at that gold medal game, one and done, right? In overtime. So did the best team win? Well, maybe the best team during those last couple periods, maybe the best goalie. So I don't like the one and done. There's too much risk. But it does make it exciting for fans.
And it is fun, like that March Madness. You could just have a Cinderella story, and they can go all the way to usually the Final Four or the Elite Eight or something like that.
Yeah, usually now in this NIL era, I don't know if there'll be as many upsets because all these top teams are loaded with so many stars. But still, I like the Cinderella story. I like the upsets. I like the bracket busters that sometimes occurs. Probably the same thing's going to happen in our playoffs, Michael.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. Have you noticed anything in your league, speaking of American college, with the whole NCAA thing? Is it too early to tell yet?
It's early to tell, but we got a couple kids that are going to get Division I rides. We have one guy, Charlie Turret, from Flin Flon and Humboldt. He's committed to Lake Superior. Ewan Rennie from Estevan, he's our league's MVP and our top forward. He's probably getting a Division I. And then we have a number of youth sport that haven't been announced yet. So I think the pendulum is going to slowly come back that other way, I think, in time. But the high-end guys like the McKennas or the Reshneys and guys like that are always going to be able to jump from the CHL and star in the NCAA. The rest of the guys are probably interchangeable.
So you're kind of you're great. You're a commissioner / reporter, so you're my ace. So let's talk about some of these matchups here. I asked you weren't sure if you could do this interview because you thought your better half had plans, but thankfully you're here to do this interview. What concert did you go to, by the way?
There's some kind of a George Strait tribute band here in Swift Current at the casino. And so my sister-in-law came in from East End and had a couple tickets and wanted us to go. And I don't really like the knockoff tribute bands. Yeah. Although I did watch that Neil Diamond tribute with my wife a couple weeks ago, the Song Blue, and that was Hugh Jackman was outstanding in that show.
Wasn't he? I watched that too. I thought, oh, this is going to be such a lame. My girlfriend wanted to watch. Yeah, okay, we'll watch it. And it was like, actually, this is pretty. That's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, and Jennifer Hudson, they both actually sung for the show, which was quite incredible. Jennifer Hudson really has a great voice, so we enjoyed it. I love Neil Diamond. I'm kind of nostalgic that way, but it was a great show.
I think you meant Kate Hudson, not
Kate
Jennifer.
Hudson. Sorry.
Yeah. There is a Jennifer Hudson, and I was like, okay, Jennifer. I don't remember Jennifer Hudson. No, it was Kate Hudson. But
Kate Hudson. Yes, right.
Hey, nobody's gonna confuse us for Siskel and Ebert, okay? But let's talk about the so. Back to my, I'm getting. By the way, I'm getting tested for ADHD. I'm not going to even I don't want to.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, I know you are. That's coming up soon. I know, bad. Anyway, so the reason I had alluded to your wife in the concert, the George Strait tribute band, is I didn't know if you'd be able to do this interview, so I'd asked Cody Mapes of the Weyburn Red Wings. He never got back to me. And then he gives me shit when I get another guest, but he always responds 2 hours late. So let's start there. Weyburn Nipawin. Let's talk about that series.
Well, that's 4-5, and I mean, really, that the 4-5 playoff series in any league, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, whether it's hockey, there is very little to separate those teams. So the overall standings, they had the same number of points. Weyburn had a little bit of a dip here in February, which I think was the difference. Really, the way that we did our tiebreaker in our league was wins and overtime wins. And when we used that formula, then Nipawin had a better record than Weyburn. So really, that started the year, probably Weyburn was the team that everyone had pegged as being in the finals versus Flin Flon. And so they don't have the home ice advantage, but I really think that series is probably going to go 6 or 7 games. And I do like Weyburn a little bit better personally, just the way they're constructed. Although the goaltending, Gage Roberts that plays for Nipawin is absolutely outstanding, and Joey Rocha he can steal a game, he can be a great goalie. But I think that when you look at Gage Roberts, he has probably more of a portfolio or more of a track record than what Joey has.
Okay, let's be very clear here when this goes to air. You don't have a rooting interest. You're just, when you say you like them better, you just kind of look at the rosters and say, okay, kind of, I picked them.
The commissioner is impartial, Michael, of course,
that's right? I just wanted to make sure because you know how the world goes. Hey, this one's a good one. Let's get it on because we don't get along. The Terriers and the Moneymen going at it.
That series, really that Highway 10 rivalry. Last year, they matched up in the first round. This year, they're matching up in the first round. This year, I think there's potential to have 10 consecutive games against one another. So the hatred should come out. Although Melville is the least penalized team in our league. Our most gentlemanly, most sportsmanlike player, Kale Margolis, plays for Melville. Our top defenseman, Tommy Reese, is playing in Yorkton. Rookie of the Year, Cash Lanigan, is in Yorkton. Probably our top scorer, Gabrielle Kershane, is in Yorkton. So you really have a big, tall, heavy defensive shutdown team playing against a real offensive, dynamically constructed team. So it should be a really good series. I'm hoping that Melville can hang in there and make it a series. Most people are probably picking this one to be 5 or 6. But who knows? I mean, playoffs, it's a whole new season. Kids show up, they're motivated, get some bounces, get healthy, maybe give them some breaks with officiating. Anything can happen. But there'll probably be, I'm going Friday night to Yorkton. There's probably going to be 1,600 people in Yorkton. And then probably when we go back to Melville on Tuesday, there'll probably be 1,500 as well. So it'll be really good for the communities, really good for the franchises because of the proximity. People are going to travel back and forth, and that's really what makes playoff hockey exciting.
Yeah, the water's rolling down the street, and it's just absolutely, man, the barns are full. Hey, Estevan Flin Flon, Mike Reagan had a milestone regular season mark, and he carries his team in against Estevan. They should beat the Bruins.
1,000 games coached, 600 wins in the SJHL, really quite remarkable. And as long as Mike has been in the league, 19 years, he's been to the finals a number of times. But he has never been a bride. He's always been a bridesmaid. And Estevan had a little bit of a slide here in the second half, but potentially they got a lot of offense. They got a lot of guys who can put the puck in the net. I know it's going to be probably one of our series where there's the most travel involved. Last time they matched up in the playoffs, the Bruins went to Game 7, went to overtime. There was a goofy bounce off a stanchion that went in the net and decided the series in the Bombers' favor. I'm hoping that, I probably predict that Estevan is looking for some revenge against the ghost of the Whitney Forum.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always that. You want to talk about home ice advantage. Nobody has home ice advantage like Flin Flon, in my opinion, unless you want to correct me.
Well, you've probably called some games up there, Michael.
Yes.
Like it's a real tough atmosphere. Like you have to be prepared for it. I know that when Humboldt went up there a couple times last year, they played a lot of sound in their practices. They had music up loud, they had horns going and whatnot, so the kids could be acclimatized towards playing in that building. I know that Drew Kosher will have those kids ready to go. They'll be motivated, and they got to steal a game or two to win that series. So probably the first game on Friday night is going to be the best game.
All right. And then, of course, we've got the Melfort Mustangs and the Battleford Stars.
Nobody wanted to play the Melfort Mustangs. After the World Junior A Challenge, Trevor Blevins had a decision. His team really had underachieved. They hadn't scored. They were outside of a playoff spot. They're sitting in sixth. He came home, had a conversation with all his veterans. His veterans did not want to be traded. They wanted to stay in Melfort. They liked the room. They liked the guys. They liked the culture. They liked playing for Trevor. And they were confident that they could right the ship. And then they went on a 12-game heater, Michael. So I know that Weyburn didn't want to play them. Battleford didn't want to play them. They went up and stole 2 games in Flin Flon here near the end of the year. The Bombers, Mike Reagan, did not want to play them. The only team that wanted to play them were the Nipawin Hawks. And Nipawin took 7 out of 8 against the Mustangs. So the North Battleford's got a good team. They have Coach of the Year, Connor Logan. Young guy. He's got a good team. They're super offensive, not real heavy. They don't really lock it down. Whereas Melfort has guys who have been to the Centennial Cup. They know how to win. They know how to shut down offense. They know how to play hard. It should be a good series. This one's going to be 6, but I don't know who's going to win it.
Okay, and before I let you go, so a parity-filled league. Warman, first year in the league, they weren't in the mix, even close to being in the mix in terms of wins and losses. But overall, how would you rate their season?
I'm very pleased with it. They averaged over 700 fans per game. They really started out with really 2 kids from the Notre Dame roster. They're Frierson Lohendorf and Vinny Palmerine. Really were the only guys. Benson Fox, 3 guys carried over to that roster. So they had a brand new roster. They had a lot of kids who had never played junior A hockey. Their director of marketing and partnerships, Brianna Burns, she did an outstanding job in the socials. The team itself did a really good job connecting with schools, with minor hockey, with people in the community, building sponsorships, set up a store, had a real great in-game experience, like probably one of the best in-games that you're going to see in junior hockey. The fans were passionate. They're electric. Young families and young kids are coming to those games. So although they did not get the wins and losses, or the wins that they were hoping to get, they had a lot of successes, and they're going to be a cornerstone of the SJHL for years to come. That's going to be a destination of choice for kids, and that's going to be a great franchise that fans from all over are going to travel. Great rivalry with Battleford, with Kindersley, and with Humboldt. That's going to continue and should become more of a rivalry as the years progress.
Okay, so I'll let you go on this, but I was fortunate enough to be asked to call a couple of Assiniboia Southern Rebel Junior B playoff games, and that was my first time at the rink. And Curtis Nelson, a great guy, took me around, showed me the whole facility. What a rink that is! Is that place? I don't know what your I know Weyburn's played there. Moose Jaw Warriors have had games there, exhibition games. Is that the town too small to have an SJHL team? Like, that is a beautiful rink. That would be better than a lot of rinks, even some junior rinks in like I'm talking WHL rinks too.
Yeah, that's a beautiful rink. Like Curtis opened up the community and the rink and brought in billets when Weyburn their ice plant went out, and the Red Wings had probably 4 or 5 games there, and it was a great atmosphere. Like, Assiniboia and surrounding area came out and supported that team. It's a beautiful facility. They're very proud of it. That's going to be a great legacy in the community for years to come, whether it's the video room, whether it's the dressing rooms, whether it's the walking track, whether it's the golf simulators. Like, it's a great, great building. And I had lots of conversations with Curtis when Notre Dame was contemplating their future, and the unfortunate thing would be that he would probably be the guy that would be providing all the corporate sponsorship. That would be my concern. And it's far away. It'll be kind of like lots of travel into the south. Nothing's really close. Swift Current, we're about 2.5 hours from there. Weyburn was over 2 hours. So it really doesn't reduce the travel. And as passionate as Assiniboia people are about hockey, they got a good junior B program there. They got a good senior program. The Nelson family are huge advocates of sport in that facility. I don't know if it could make it. That would be my concern. Like, I know if White City or Balgony ever got a facility, that would be a great place to have a team. Meadow Lake has got a beautiful rink. They're eager for some SJHL hockey, but I don't think the Governors have an appetite to expand. But a relocation, who knows what happens? I mean,
Well,
right now
even
everything's viable, right?
you're a big CFL fan, so like they do the Pacific Bowl out there, and I've been to 2 Atlantic Bowls, and I know we just said Weyburn's had a couple of games there. Is it a thing where maybe you could have a Weyburn Estevan regular season clash, and they have a good gate, or there's some sort of, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a beautiful venue to maybe.
We can do that. I mean,
while, right?
like Notre Dame a couple years ago, I think that they played probably half their away games in neutral sites. And so certainly there's always an opportunity, whether, if Curtis went to the Weyburn Red Wings or the Estevan Bruins and said, hey, you know what, we're going to bring you in, we're going to pay for your bus, we're going to feed your kids, we'll give you a portion of the gate. There's always opportunity to do that. Like this year we probably don't have as many neutral site games as what we've had in the past, but there's always an opportunity to do that. I know the Swift Current Broncos here in Swift Current have gone there and played a couple times. Moose Jaw's played a couple times. We went down there for some SJHL games with both Weyburn and Notre Dame previously. Like, it's a great rink. I wish we had a rink like that in every community in Saskatchewan. That's a great rink. Wynyard's got a great rink.
Yeah.
There's lots of great rinks. But when you look at our rinks, like you look at the Whitney Forum that was built in 1956. That is an absolute shrine. That's a museum. That's a chapel.
Doesn't look like much when you pull up there.
But no, it sure doesn't. But when you get in, like, it is incredible. Like the atmosphere, the history, the fan engagement, like, it's incredible.
Yeah, it is. You walk in, it's like, like you said, it's kind of a blend. You got brightness, but you also got almost like kind of like, not dark, but it's like there's the history, and then it's the bright interior. It's like, holy cow, wow, this is a big
There's
deal.
a lot of history in that building, and you're right. When you pull up, it's like, oh my God, what the hell is this going to be like? But when you get inside, you say, this is a great junior hockey rink. And then you go into the Bomber dressing room. It's like, wow, this is one of the nicest rooms I've ever seen. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, enjoy the playoffs and have fun. It's going to be a great. The first round in any league is always the best, in my opinion.
Well, and again, we have a couple things going on with one of our sponsors, UPL. We have our UPL Performer of the Night for the outstanding performance by an SJHL player, but we also have a UPL Overtime Challenge. And the fan who correctly guessed a single player that's going to score in overtime gets a nice UPL hat. That's kind of SJHL hat. It's kind of cool. And given the parity that we had in the regular season, I bet you we see half a dozen overtime games in playoffs.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait. I love overtime in the playoffs. Thanks for your time, Commish. I appreciate it.
Bud. Take care.